Brief overview of what air traffic control is and its importance. The system used to oversee the efficient and safe movement of airplanes in the air is known as Air Traffic Control or ATC. It is in charge of making sure that aircraft are safely and quickly led to their destinations, and that correct separation is maintained to prevent crashes. Air traffic controllers, who are skilled professionals that offer air traffic controller services, employ a range of instruments and technologies to monitor and guide aircraft. Air traffic control is significant because it helps to keep the airspace secure. Collisions are a severe problem due to the high speeds and altitudes at which aircraft operate as well as the large number of aircraft flying at any given moment. ATC is in charge of guiding aircraft to their destinations in a way that reduces the chance of collisions and making sure that aircraft are separated from one another by a safe distance, both laterally and vertically. ATC is also in charge of keeping an eye on the weather and informing pilots of pertinent information, including as advisories for thunderstorms and wind shear. The optimal use of airspace depends heavily on air traffic control as well. To manage the movement of aircraft into and out of airports, air traffic controllers employ cutting-edge technologies and processes. As a result, aircraft take off and land in a safe and orderly manner. This is especially important in congested airports where numerous aircraft are landing and taking off simultaneously. In conclusion, air traffic control is a system that keeps aircraft safe while they are in the air, by maintaining proper separation between aircraft and by offering safe and efficient routes to their destination, by giving pilots weather and flight information, and by keeping an eye on traffic entering and leaving airports. Overview of the main procedures used to manage airspace. The main players involved in air traffic control are: Number 1, air traffic controllers. They are in charge of keeping an eye on the airspace and directing aircraft through it. They monitor the movement of aircraft, provide pilots directions, and make sure that aircraft are correctly spaced apart to prevent crashes using radar, communication systems, and other instruments. Number 2, pilots. They are in charge of flying the plane. They comply with the directives given by air traffic controllers and communicate to them their position, altitude, and other pertinent data. They also make judgments regarding their flight, such as when to rise, descend, or alter course, using the information provided by controllers. Number 3, flight dispatchers. They are in charge of creating the flight plans that specify the precise course, altitude, and speed of an aircraft. They also assist in coordinating with air traffic controllers to guarantee a smooth flight by giving pilots weather updates and other pertinent information. Number 4, maintenance and engineering personnel. They are in charge of maintaining and fixing the radar systems, navigational equipment, and communication systems utilized by pilots and air traffic controllers. They also help to guarantee that the aircraft are in proper condition to fly. Number 5, managers and administrators. They are in charge of overseeing the operation of the air traffic control system. They create rules and processes, establish budgets, and make ensuring the system complies with laws and standards. Together, these parties contribute to effective and safe air traffic control. They must continually adjust to shifting conditions and scenarios as they regulate the passage of airplanes in the airspace using a range of technologies and procedures. They are necessary for an effective and safe system of air transportation. Overview of the main procedures used to manage airspace. The main procedures used to manage airspace include: Number 1, flight plans. Before taking off, pilots must submit their flight plans to air traffic control. The anticipated route, altitude, and speed of an aircraft are all included in the flight plan, along with other pertinent information like the number of passengers and the type of aircraft. Air traffic controllers utilize this information to make sure the aircraft is safely and effectively led to its destination and is adequately isolated from other planes. Number 2, airspace classification. There are various types of airspace, each with its own set of policies. For instance, Class A airspace is only accessible by Instrument Flight Rules IFR aircrafts and extends from 18,000 feet mean sea level to and including flying level 600 or 60,000 feet mean sea level, while Class G airspace is uncontrolled and allows for Visual Flight Rules or VFR flight. Number 3, communication procedures. To communicate information and give directions, air traffic controllers and pilots adhere to a set of established communications procedures. To ensure the safe and effective movement of aircraft in the airspace, pilots must always stay in radio communication with controllers and adhere to their orders. Number 4, separation standards. Depending on the kind of airspace, the type of aircraft, and the weather conditions, air traffic controllers are responsible for maintaining a safe distance between aircraft known as separation standards. They follow the movements of the aircraft and maintain a safe distance between them using a range of instruments, including radar, automatic dependent surveillance broadcast, and transponders. Number 5. Weather advisories. Air traffic controllers monitor weather conditions and offer pilots with pertinent information, such as thunderstorm and wind shear alerts. The information is used by pilots to plan their flight and guarantee a secure landing. Number 6. Emergency procedures. Emergency protocols are in place for air traffic controllers to handle unanticipated events like engine failure, communication failure, or other problems. These processes are intended to guarantee that aircraft are swiftly and safely led to their destinations or, in the event of an emergency, to a safe spot to land. All of these procedures and protocols work to promote the efficient and safe movement of aircraft in the airspace by keeping enough distances between them, improving communication, keeping an eye on the weather, and having a plan in place for emergency scenarios. The different types of airspace, such as controlled and uncontrolled airspace. Airspace is divided into different types or classes, each with its own set of rules and procedures. The main types of airspace are controlled and uncontrolled airspace. Number 1. Airspace that is controlled by air traffic control in order to facilitate the swift and secure movement of aircraft. This category of airspace often covers the airspace above a particular altitude, the airspace surrounding significant airports, the airspace along significant aviation routes usually starting from 18,000 feet mean sea level. In order to keep a safe distance from other aircraft when flying in controlled airspace, an aircraft must have a current flight plan, be in constant communication with air traffic controllers, and adhere to their directions. Number 2. Controlled airspace is the area of airspace where no air traffic control is offered. In this sort of airspace, pilots are in charge of keeping their own distance from other aircraft and coordinating radio calls with other pilots on a shared frequency. Rural areas in airspace below a specific height, such Class G airspace, are common examples of this sort of airspace. Depending on the nation and the region, controlled airspace is further separated into classes, such as Class A, B, C, D, and E airspace. Only aircraft flying under the Instrument Flight Rules, IFR, can access Class A airspace, which is often located at higher altitudes, above 18,000 feet mean sea level. Aircraft entering and exiting the airport are protected by Class B airspace, which is often located around busy airports. Compared to Class B airspace, Class C airspace is located around medium-sized airports and has less regulations. Compared to Class C airspace, Class D airspace often surrounds smaller airports and has less regulations. Class E airspace usually surrounds particular routes, and depending on the altitude and location, it could have varying criteria. In summary, controlled airspace is airspace where air traffic control services are provided and pilots must follow specific rules and procedures to ensure the safe and efficient movement of aircraft. Uncontrolled airspace is airspace where no air traffic control services are provided and pilots are responsible for their own safety and must communicate with other pilots to maintain separation. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and click the bell button for new video update.